Hey everybody, welcome to my new series of F1 predictions that I'm starting on this channel. I know I'm 2 races short already, but I bought this massive fuck off flag behind me here, and it cost way too much to waste. So I'm just going to go ahead and do predictions from here on in. I have already started these predictions, as they weren't originally a YouTube thing, they were just me having fun. And so far I have 6 points. I will explain the rules, or not the rules, basically what the predictions are of right now. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories. We have Lucky Dip. Lucky Dip is the driver who benefits from something, whether it's a dodgy safety car at the right time for them, or if they benefit from another driver's misery, like a driver in front of them crash and they gain the win out of nowhere. We'll give them that. Or if they just do particularly well, unexpectedly well during the weekend. We have our second category is the biggest flop. So basically, if the polar opposite, if somebody is doing well and then something horrendous happens, or if they just do badly in general, lower than what their expected performance was going to be. I am predicting who is going to get pole position, who is going to get P1, P2 and P3 in the race, and then I've got a wild card pick, which is basically I can predict anything out of the norm happening, and if I get it right, it's a point. It's just that simple. I'm going to put up now my predictions for the first 2 races that I had already done. In the first week I got 2 right, and in the second week I got 4 right, so I'm on 6 points at the minute for my own total. In Japan, we're going to move on to my actual predictions now. In Japan, I think the lucky dip is going to be Liam Lawson. Now, I recorded this before any official news from Red Bull themselves of Liam Lawson switching seats with Yuki Tsunoda, which is a potential rumor that's going on, that's been confirmed by a lot of very reputable media sources, but it's not 100% not confirmed by the team themselves. But I made this prediction a couple of days before those rumors were even going on. So I think because it's Japan, and Liam Lawson's done a lot of driving in Super Formula. He's very familiar with the Suzuka circuit. Maybe he could be the most familiar with the Suzuka circuit out of everybody on the grid, just because of the amount of time he spent driving in Japan. I think he's going to have a whopper weekend one way or another, whether he's in a Red Bull or an RB, which are fucking confusing team names. For the flop, I didn't really know who to go for the flop for this week, because everybody seemed to get the handle of themselves in the second race in China. I just stuck down Jack Doohan. I'm sorry if this ends up cursing him. It's probably not going to be some random Irish fella in his bedroom that's going to curse Jack Doohan. I think he's a very good driver. He's performed better than expected already, but he does have another very competitive driver breathing down his neck in Franco Colapinto. And if he messes up even slightly, it could spell the end of his career. END, that's what it would spell. With Franco Colapinto right behind him, I think might be a bit too much pressure, and he just might crack under all that. For pole position, who is going to get pole position, in my opinion, in Japan? And it's George Russell. He's gotten a podium in both the races so far. He has some pace on him. It's unbelievable, the pace that he has in that Mercedes. They seem to have taken a big step forward, and I'm sure once Antonelli gets up to speed, he'll be right up there with George, and they'll both be fighting for podiums by the end of the season, if the order stays as it is at the minute. But I think he's just got great pace, and he's taken home pole in Japan. Now, I'm going to do the podium in reverse order. I'm going to go P3, P2, P1, and in P3 I believe that Oscar Piastri is going to be on the lowest step of the podium. Oscar Piastri, my favourite driver on my favourite team. I am a McLaren fan and a huge fan of Oscar Piastri because he's like a Gen Z Kimi Raikkonen. He just doesn't care. It's more like a hobby to me, you know. And Oscar, I think he's going to step up on the podium. Japan is a very tough circuit to keep your tyres in the right range, and that seems to be Oscar's his biggest downfall. Even though it's not much of a downfall, he's just not as good as, say, Lando or Max at managing his tyres. But he has, I think, on any given Sunday, he can outpace anybody. And he proved in China that he was able to manage tyres perfectly well, because that's just as difficult of a track to manage tyres on. But Oscar Piastri on the third step of the podium. In P2, I have George Russell finishing in second with the silver medal around his neck. I think he's going to convert that pole into a very good result, but I just don't think he has I don't think the Mercedes has the raw pace to keep up with both the McLarens for the entire race, and I think that kind of gives away who I'm putting for P1 in the race. I'm going with Lando Norris, a 1-3 for McLaren, bookending. Oh no, not bookending. Top of the podium and bottom of the podium. I suppose it is bookending, but they don't do it. They put the main guy in the middle and then second and then third. So it's bookending in numbers terms. It's 1-3ing in the actual podium terms. I think Lando in that McLaren at the minute is nigh on unbeatable, as long as he doesn't make a major mistake, as long as he doesn't dip his wheel in the gravel on the first turn of the first lap like he did in China, as long as he doesn't make as long as his strategy team doesn't make a silly decision, I genuinely think that he's going to win every race, that there is not shenanigans involved. And my wacky wild card, as it's called in my Google spreadsheet here, is Liam Lawson scoring points. He hasn't scored points yet in the Red Bull when Max has finished on the podium in both the races. I think if he's in the Red Bull, he has to score these points, and he's familiar with Suzuka, as I said before, because of his time in Super Formula. He has to score points, even if it's just 9th or 8th or something like that. He needs to do something. I think if he's in the RB, if it's seemingly an easier car to drive, hopefully that he can, like Hadjar and Tsunoda have both been putting the RB into brilliant places, both scoring points. It's just been strategy that's let the two of them down, and I think if that doesn't get in the way, Liam Lawson's getting points one way or the other. So that's my predictions there. P3, Oscar Piastri. P2, George Russell. P1, Lando Norris. I think George is going to get pole. I think Doohan's going to flop, and I think Liam is going to get the lucky dip, and also I think he's going to score points in the race. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to continue this series for the rest of the races and hopefully into the future if the channel keeps going well. So long.